Hey there, good morning. Welcome to Prog Monster. My name is Murph, host of this show, a show dedicated to progressive rock, hard rock, heavy metal, and other forms of rock music, and now also other forms of music altogether. So, anyways, we're going to be doing my hauls for the month, which will come out on Tuesday, May the 31st at noon. That's my hopes, if I can plan this right. Anyways, today, this show is basically about, sorry, I got something in my eye here. This show is basically about the stuff that I've either purchased or been given or have gotten over the last month, in this case, the month of May. So, for those of you who have been following this, I think this is like the 9th episode of this show. I've been collecting basically a lot of stuff that I've never heard before, but also just as much stuff that I've had in the past but didn't have a chance to recollect it. So anyways, we I've done that, and then I've also started to branch out a bit into other music that people have suggested that I haven't listened to and wanted to listen to. So I'm always on the lookout. I usually do a circuit. I look through all of the what do they call those stores? I can't think of the name. But I go to a lot of yard sales. I go to a specific guy that I go to see every month. He has a lot of stuff that I really like. And I travel about to find stores that sell old CDs and stuff like that. That's pretty much how I do it. Sometimes I go to Value Village. Sometimes I go to Best Buy. Not Best Buy. The Beat Goes On. Sometimes I go to that. Sometimes I go to the thrift stores. That's what I was trying to think of. There's a few thrift stores in the neighborhood, and you get the odd album there for a reasonable price. But anyways, I managed to capture a couple of pretty good ones for good prices this month. Some of them I had to pay a little more for. So anyways, without further ado, we're gonna start, and we'll start the way we always do, which is the progressive albums first, because that's my love. Okay, I got this album. It's a live Pink Floyd, live at the Nebworth. I've listened to it once so far. I really like the format of the album. It's set up nice. It does come with a book, I think, but I don't seem to have that with me. Oh no, here it is. Right in here with where it's not supposed to be. So it comes with this book. There's the album. Put that back in the CD. So the album is this one. It's got a guy with a white or with a red ball on it. And then the album, it comes with this booklet. In concert. Some more concert shots of the guys. Nice shot of Nick Mason and David Gilmour here. Nice overall band shot. Just some really neat pictures here. Here's Richard Wright. Some really solid stuff here. So anyways, the Nebworth is a concert that Pink Floyd put on. It doesn't feature Roger Waters because it came after his period. So he's the one that's missing from the album. But the other three are on here. It's prior to Richard Wright's death. Pretty solid album. I listened to it its entirety last week. I've read the booklet and everything. Great album. Okay, this one, another Pink Floyd album. This is Wish You Were Here, an album I've been looking for a while. I actually thought about getting it from the guy I usually get it from. He wants about $12 for it, and I was thinking, okay, I can get that. And then I found it for $2, and I checked it out, and it's in really solid condition, like a really good condition. For $2, this was a big score for me. It's an album I've wanted. I now have it, so I'll be listening to it. I haven't listened to it yet, although, realistically, I do know most of the tracks on here. I've heard them all before. It's not like they're going to be presenting something I haven't heard. Wish You Were Here, Have a Cigar, Welcome to the Machine. I've heard all this stuff on here before. I've just never owned the album. And I've never had it in any way, shape, or form, but I've heard all the stuff on it. A friend of mine, years ago, when I was working as a bartender when I was younger, he took the the song "Welcome to the Machine." And he put it on his answering service when that was in the days when you had a home phone and answering service would pick up when you weren't there. So he had that. I always remember that. I don't know why. I thought it was really inventive of him the way he put it together on his machine. Great. Okay, this album I got for a reasonable good price. It's the one Jethro Tull that I've wanted. There's other people who do this kind of music channel who have rated this as the best of their albums. I've listened to it once, but I really didn't get to listen to it. Like, I wasn't really paying 100% attention to it, but it's a Jethro Tull album in the classic era. I can't imagine, and it's well thought of. I can't imagine that I'm not going to enjoy this thoroughly. So basically a really good album. This was their follow-up to Stand Up, which was a really good album as well. Next album out, I've wanted this forever. It's the only Peter Gabriel album I haven't, well, actually, it was the only classic Peter Gabriel album I never had in its entirety. I've had it on cassette. I had it on cassette, and I had it on a cassette that I had recorded. My friend recorded it for me. But I got this. I've already listened to it once, remembering how completely awesome and impactful this album is. It impacted a lot of stuff. The drum in Intruder was very impactful. If you watch any of the Genesis stuff online, at least when they get back together for an interview, they talk about this album quite a bit. Just a super album. Like, there's just no weak tracks on this album. This to me is a classic masterpiece. So I listened to it once, and it'll go probably into my playlist. Not into my playlist, but into my albums waiting to go on the playlist, because I only keep 20 on my playlist, because you can't reasonably get more than that in a week. At least I can't. I pretty much play my 20 every week, and then when they get a little bit tired of them, I replace them with other albums, and this one will definitely go on that list. Next one up is also Peter Gabriel. This is the last of his solo albums to date, I believe. This is called Up. I have not listened to this. I do not know any of the tracks on it. Album's in good condition. I don't know any of these tracks. I've tried to... I probably have heard some of it, but I'm just not familiar with the titles yet. But I think this will be a good listen. I really liked the Us album. It was on my playlist for a very long time. So there you go. Next up, this will be my first one by this group, Emerson, Lake and Palmer. This trilogy. A band I don't know what it is about Emerson, Lake and Palmer. I just never got into them. I always seemed like it was too keyboard dominated, I guess. Maybe it was too proggy at the time. I'm not really sure what the reason was. I just never got into it. I do like some of their stuff. I have listened to some of their stuff, songs I know fairly well. This one, though, I had to have. It was available for a reasonable price, and I sucked it up right away. I've been wanting to get into them. I've been pushed to get into them by people, and this kind of reminds me of the cover of that book by John. What's his name? He was an English writer. Did these books called the Tripod Trilogy. I have it here somewhere, but I don't see it, so I can't tell you. But anyways, the cover reminds me of that, and so we'll be listening to this probably this week at some point and getting into it. It's a really decent. I think this is actually a remake. I don't think this is the original copy, although I could be wrong, because I think there's bonus tracks on here. Yeah, there's at least one bonus track on here. So, you've got some really exceptional musicians here, people that are like top of their field, musicianship-wise, and this is one of their classic albums, so we'll be getting into that one. This one I got when I got the Pink Floyd Wish You Were Here the other day. I got this for $2. and I've been looking for this album for a while. Just really good, and it's in like the album shelf is not so good, but the CD's in really good condition. This is a classic, yes, album. Maybe they're, many feel this is their most progressive album. I've heard a few tracks off here at various times, but I'm not that familiar with the album as I'd like to be. There's a couple of additional tracks added on here: Ogre Battle and Seven Seas of Rhyme. So yeah, we'll be getting into this. I swear I haven't taken the sticker off where I got it yet. I hate it when they put these stickers on because they're just so hard to get off, and they leave such a sticky mess on the thing. And now I've decided I want to take it off no matter what. Okay, so there we are. That's gone, primarily. Anyways, this is a good album, as most of their stuff is. I now have pretty much all of their stuff. This was one of the albums I did not have, and I've never owned it. I'm looking forward to listening to it. I hope it's as good as people say it is. So it's going to be a good month for listening anyways. I got this one next at my favorite place. It's a live album. People keep telling me to do something. Can you do something live for Eloy? Who do you like better, Eloy or Nectar? Well, I don't really know Eloy live. I have 2 or 3 of their albums, and I've been listening to them, and they're really solid. The thing about Eloy I like quite a bit is that their music is all fairly similar, but you get the same solid stuff every album. You don't get any kind of weird crap. At least I haven't heard any weird crap yet. But I like it because even though they have their own kind of sound, every once in a while I hear a little Pink Floyd in there, and it's really. So when I'm in the mood for Pink Floyd, I'm usually in the mood for Eloy as well. This is a live one, so I'm looking forward to listening to what they sound like live. I'll get back to you and let you know how that went. This may be an album I do a show on in the future, fairly near future as well. So there you go, Eloy live. Another live album. I've been trying to collect as many live albums as I can because the stock of live albums I had were all vinyl, and once I started getting into the CDs, I didn't get into the live as much, so I only had maybe a dozen or so. But now I've decided when I go to my favorite store, I'm going to try and purchase at least 2 or 3 live albums every time I go. This was one of them that I've had this before. I've listened to it a lot. I think it's very underrated. It's a fantastic, it only came out after they'd only done 3 albums at this point, or 4 albums if you count the first one. But it's got like all really good stuff here. Watchers in the Sky, Get Out by Friday, Return of the Giant Hogweed, I love. Musical Box, another favorite of mine, and The Knife. Like all really, really well done, great Genesis tracks here. Now here's an album I just got yesterday. I found it in a bin somewhere. It's in good shape. Tea Party. It's in good shape. The album is not actually too bad either. The thing I like is I just discovered, well, how do I say this? I discovered Tea Party when they came out in the 90s, but back then I had kind of moved away from rock music altogether and was basically listening to a lot of I used to think it was the dead decade for me where I didn't listen to music, but that's not true. I did listen to music, it just wasn't rock. I was listening to a lot of the big band stuff and the older stuff from the 40s and stuff. I got into that and kind of moved away from this altogether. But I did listen to an album by them once, and I thought, wow, this guy sounds so much like Jim Morrison, and the band is just so kind of Indian sounding, and the way they put their rock together, I thought it was really cool. So I got an album by them last month, which I've been listening to a lot. It's actually one of my top 5 albums right now to listen to in my playlist. And then I found this one for $2, and I thought, here it goes again, more collecting. So I think this will be a good listen to as well. Okay, so the next one is the next in my Deep Purple collection. I have several Deep Purples now. Now, if you've heard me talk about this before, Deep Purple was not a band I listened to as a teenager. I didn't get into them. I think it was, I've heard people talk about this on shows before, and I've had this experience. I had it with Pink Floyd. I've had it with Jethro Tull. I've had it with Deep Purple. It's like all really solid bands, like bands I really like a lot now. But at the time, I heard Smoke on the Water was the same with The Wall by Pink Floyd and Aqualung by Jethro Tull. I didn't really like those songs or those albums. I don't know, for some reason they didn't quite sit with me right, or they were overplayed and I didn't really like them, and so I judged the band by those songs, which was wrong. And the same thing I did to Deep Purple. I really like. I've been listening to Machine Head a lot. It's the one that I was listening to in rock for a long time, and now it's been replaced by Machine Head. Really good, solid albums. This one I've been told is really good as well, and I know a few tracks from this. Women from Tokyo, the Super Trooper. Like, I know these tracks, so I know that this is going to be a solid album. It took me a while to read what it said here because my eyesight's not so good, but I got this for maybe $7 or $8, and I think it's in great shape, as all the stuff this guy gives me is in great shape. And I'm looking forward to checking this out when I get to it. There's so much stuff to listen to, and there's so much good stuff too. I'm just really enjoying it. Okay, so now we're gonna get, that's pretty much it for the harder and the progressive stuff. Now we've got some stuff that's a little bit different, stuff that I normally won't listen to. So with bands that, especially with bands that I don't listen to a lot, or they're not really bands I'm going to collect or anything like that, but there are some people that I like their hits, or I like a certain amount of their music, and in the case of some of them, I'm okay with just having a collections, because that's going to be good enough for me. I'm not going to go overboard on them anyways, so I'd like some of their collections. Well, I got this one. It was $1. I saw it somewhere, and I said, you know what? I've long liked this guy's stuff. I think he's got a lot of stuff. I may collect this guy at some point, but for now, I just got a compilation. This is Gordon Lightfoot, Gord's Gold. The only thing about this album that I've listened to it in its entirety once, some really good stuff on it. He has one of those voices, and he's Canadian, and I relate to a lot of stuff that he did. He just doesn't have his Edmund Fitzgerald song here, which is my favorite, and it's kind of annoying because I'll probably have to buy something else now. Okay, here's another guy I liked this as a young man, and I actually got into a little bit more when I was doing my kind of folky, kind of jazzy time period. I don't know if he's either of those things, but I decided to get a greatest hits by Cat Stevens. I actually have a friend named Cat Stevens. Katina is her name, but so when I saw this, I thought of her, and so I got this. Yeah, some pretty decent stuff on here. I'll give this a listen to. May not get a lot of play, but it's can't beat it for $1, right? Here's an album I've listened to. Sorry, I'm just gonna fix it in here. I've listened to this in entirety once. I really love this woman's vocals. It's not rock at all. I wouldn't say it's even close to rock. It's Ella Fitzgerald. Very jazzy. She is the queen of scatting, man. Wow. She just is so good, and she has one of those voices that's just so catchy, and I could listen to her voice all day. I just think she's one of the top singing females ever, Anyway, so I got this. It's a collection, big band music, and a lot of really good, solid songs. Next up, a guy I listened to as a kid. This before Kiss, my parents listened to this stuff. It's kind of a poppy, kind of 50 sounding, 60 sounding stuff. It's not stuff that I would have wanted out and bought, but for $1, I thought, you know what, I gotta have it. There's at least a half a dozen tracks on here I'll listen to. Neil Sedaka. Some really I don't know, songs that remind me of things, and so, you know, sometimes that's what music's about. It brings you back to something that you liked. Don't know anything about this album. I've never listened to anything by this guy other than the CCR stuff that he was legendary for. But I saw it. It was $2. I said, you know what? I was at a Goodwill store looking for something, and I spotted this, and I said, you know what? For $2, it's not going to hurt me. So I took it. It's in good condition, as you can see. It's a nice cover. I like the cover quite a bit. And the thing I like about it is everything's written fairly boldly, so I can actually see it without my glasses. Next up, another guy who I have one of his albums, had it for a while, and I wasn't going to get this one, but I thought, you know what, it's easy listening to stuff for me. I'll listen to it on occasion. My Mike grow to like it quite a bit. I'm not sure. Scarecrow, John Cougar Mellencamp. Album's in good condition. That's one of the things I really like, to make sure that I get the stuff in good condition. I don't want to listen to scratchy stuff no more. That was the big problem with my vinyl records. They would warp or they would scratch. They just didn't have the same sound. I did like the album format, the way it was bigger and just had the open and you read. I remember reading my Kiss album endlessly. Anyways, the next CD, I had this before on vinyl, and then I got it on, I actually had it on 8-track too, and I had it on cassette, and now I have it on CD. It's a fantastic album with some of the most memorable stuff by him. And I know I may collect some of his older stuff at some point too, because he was one of my favorite singers at the time period. Elton John's greatest hits. This is a classic, great hit album though. I've already listened to it. The first day I got it, I listened to it. It's in good condition. Comes with a nice book on Elton. You know, just all of his great classic songs, all wrapped into one. So if I never get anything else, I don't think I'll lose any sleep over it, but this one gives me the stuff I like, and if I decide to go into his discography, which is at least a possibility, then I got a starting ground. I did this with Jethro Tull. I have a Masters album by Jethro Tull. At the time, I only got it because it was a couple dollars, and now I'll just take it anyways, because it had Aqualung on it. I didn't listen to it for a long time, and then I started playing something. I wanted something different one day, so I started playing that album, and I went, wow, I never even had imagined that he had stuff that sounded anything like that they had anything like that. So that got me going, and now I'm a huge Jethro Tull fan. This I bought, not really sure why. Not somebody I followed a lot, but I decided, you know what, it was $1. I'll give it a listen to. If I don't like it, I can always get rid of it. It's no big deal. I'll probably get the same amount for it at the very least. But it was in good shape. That was part of the reason I took it. It's in good shape. The album is good. It's got a nice picture of him on the cover. Pretty solid album. So I've listened to it once. Not bad. Now we get into some stuff that is not even close to rock music, but had to give some attention to these. So much so I'm going to be doing my first non-rock video with this guy. But we'll start with his daughter, Natalie Cole. I don't love her as much, but she has a nice voice, and there's some decent songs. She sings a lot of his classics on this one. So we'll be giving this a listen to as well. Another sticker that I didn't see. And another one. Okay, so the last two albums feature the same person. They're just compilations as well. Usually I get these type of albums when either one of two things takes place. Either they're not an album producing person, so they just usually have singles because they come from a period before albums, and they basically just put out greatest hit collections. That's what they're known for. So I've got two. This one, this is called Nat King Cole from the collection series, and this is 20 greatest Nat King Cole hits. There's about half a dozen songs maybe 10 songs on both albums that are exactly the same songs, but there's enough on either of them that they're a little bit different. Both really good, and I'll be doing a video on him and these particular albums this week, so you'll get to see more. So that's it. There you have it. I think it's what, 20, somewhere between 20 and 25 albums this month. It's not a bad haul. I got some really good stuff that I'm looking forward to listening to, and that's what it's all about, you know. I wouldn't say I'm a collector of many things, but there's certain things I do collect, and CDs are my thing. The only other thing I collect are Stratomatic baseball cards, which, believe me, that can be a costly adventure as well. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this month's haul. Anybody got any experience with these or suggestions on things that I might look for that I haven't got on my list? That would be great too. I got to go back actually and take my list and reorganize it, because there's a lot of scratched out things on there. I have to do a new up-to-date one for when I go there next week to do my weekly purchases. Anyways, I hope you have a good day. Another fine day outside. And from Prog Monster, you know, again, if you like it, please like and subscribe. And from Prog Monster, you have a great day, and we'll be seeing you in the next video. Bye.